Nicole Patino, Gabe Snyder, and Justin Irvin are here to answer your questions related to workers' comp, work, and wills. I'm going to start with you, Gabe. Someone's asking, what is the most common mistake people make with workers' comp?
Probably not hiring an attorney. But outside of that is the miscalculation of the average weekly wage. Really, the fundamental principle in workers' comp and how you get paid is by how much you make. And it's not as simple as just dividing by how much you make in a week. There's a lot of considerations that go into that. So to really hire an attorney, talk to an attorney, make sure your average weekly wage is correct, make sure and report it to your employer immediately. Those I would say are the two big mistakes that will really impact your claim.
Justin, someone's asking, is a free online will legally binding?
Well, there are a few requirements that you have to abide by to make a will in North Carolina. If it's typed, then it has to be signed by the testator, the person making the will, and it has to be signed by two witnesses as well. Now, that's just the bare minimum to make it legal. There are other things that you could do to make the administration of your estate after your death go a bit more smoothly. And so while, yes, it might be legal and it might be binding, it might create other difficulties.
Someone asked, I have a will drawn up with my attorney in Virginia. This happened in 2008. I now live in North Carolina. Is it still valid in this state?
North Carolina does have a statute that says that if a will was valid under the law of the state where you used to live, where you signed it, then North Carolina will recognize it. But what I would say to you is that that will at this point is about 12 years old. And what brought you to North Carolina? And don't tell me Highway 29, but what were the reasons for your moving to North Carolina? That might have been a significant life change that might merit your reviewing your will and looking at it and seeing, maybe I should change something. Maybe I should make a will under North Carolina law now.
I'm not sure who to direct this question to, but which group of employers, or I suppose which type of employers, are obligated to pay their employees from being out with COVID-19?
No employers anymore. Under the FFCRA was companies who had between 1 and 500 employees. But now employers are not obligated to pay you if you have COVID-19 and you have to be out of work.
This question is for Justin. Do I need a lawyer to update my will?
You don't necessarily, as long as what you're doing meets the requirements for making a will in North Carolina, then you can do it yourself. I will tell you though, the problems that I see with self-made wills don't tend to be satisfying the bare requirements. They tend to be with phrasing things and wording things and with thinking about how things are going to affect other things down the road. And so, yes, you might be able to make your own will. And North Carolina does recognize handwritten wills as well. It's one of the states that still does. But you think about what's on the line here. Everything that you've worked so hard to build up over your lifetime, and people whom you love and that you want to take care of after you're gone. And I feel like that's worth sitting down and talking to an attorney.
This question kind of follows that one up, Justin. They're asking, what do I need for a handwritten will to be honored?
Yeah, you need to basically write the whole thing out in your handwriting and sign it and make some indication in there that this is your will, and make it very clear about what you want to do.
Does it need a notary public?
A handwritten will does not. And in fact, an attested will, a typed will that's signed by two witnesses, doesn't have to be notarized either. The notarization comes into play with a special part of the will, again, like I said before, that's designed to smooth the path for the administration of your estate after your death. Remember that once you're dead, you can't come back and say what it is that you meant by something. That's what the will is for, so get it right the first time.
Nicole, someone's wondering whether my employer can require me to take a COVID test.
Yes, and a vaccine, unless there are you have sincerely held religious beliefs or a disability prevents you from taking it, or you've had previous allergic reactions, things like that. But yeah, absolutely.
Gabe, someone's wondering, in a workers' comp claim, am I entitled to SSD or retirement benefits?
Okay, so really three different topics there. In a workers' comp claim, you can be on workers' comp and receive Social Security disability at the same time. A lot of times I encourage my clients to settle their workers' comp claim first and then apply for Social Security disability, because when you do so, You take the workers' compensation proceeds, you can pocket it, do whatever you want with it. You don't have to work for the employer anymore. You're no longer under their thumb as far as medical treatment. Then you apply for Social Security disability, and then you start receiving those checks too. If you do it at the same time, then workers' comp, the Social Security disability amount that you get will be offset by the workers' compensation amount you receive. So that's why I encourage, depending on the situation, I encourage clients to settle their claim first before applying for Social Security disability.
Someone's asking, what if you have been full-time and because of COVID you have been dropped down to part-time? Can you apply for unemployment?
Yes, you can apply. I don't know what they're going to do with the benefits. There's a lot of eligibility requirements in the new federal benefits. I don't know how that's going to apply if you've been cut down to part-time, because a lot of people who got benefits previously are getting notices that they've been overpaid. So yes, apply.
We just don't know what will happen once you apply.
That's right.
Okay, but it can't hurt. Justin, a question for you. What happens if you don't have a will when you pass?
If you die without a will that you have made yourself, then a will that our General Assembly, our state legislature, has made for you is going to apply. Those are called intestacy statutes. And so basically state law will determine who will wrap up your affairs, who will administer your estate, and who will inherit from you. A lot of people tend to think that, well, I'm married, so my spouse is just going to get everything. But that's often not the case. Sometimes, under certain circumstances, the spouse can inherit jointly with your parents or jointly with your children. So it's worth putting some thought into that and determining, hey, does state law, does that accurately reflect what I want to happen? And often for people, the answer is no.
So get that will done ASAP. Justin, Gabe, Nicole, appreciate you.